Additionally, historically, the vast majority of inbound cross-border acquisitions have been by US and EU-based acquirers. Over the last couple of years, there seems to be a new trend developing where we're starting to see far more activity and interest from selected emerging markets, and more recently, some significant transactions beginning to be announced, particularly with China-based acquirers. The first major deal, of course, was ChemChina's $2.5 billion acquisition of Makhtashi Magan. There's been another few deals since then. For example, Fosun Pharma's acquisition of Alma Lasers, the recent bid for Cloud Insurance by JT Capital out of Hong Kong, and more recently there was an investment into one of actually Catalyst portfolio companies called Mobileye, and the largest investor was a Chinese investor called Salient Capital. It was a $400 million investment in the company. What is your impression regarding the sudden and significant level of announced transactions from emerging markets such as China and even Russia? Is this kind of a short-term blip that we're seeing here, or are we witnessing the beginning of a longer-term trend?
Well, I think it's a great trend that you're pointing. The Israeli market, at least the technology market, is really based on the US market as well as the European. This is a great time to thank the Kuckerman Investment House for supporting the Israeli European activities for many, many, many years and being so successful for that. But yes, I think that for us, opening new markets for products and companies is very significant. The Asian market is being very active in many, many, many sense. Not only the transaction that you mentioned, but also cooperation in the technology arena, as well as investing in companies here, direct investments, as well as, and this is a new trend for us, big companies from Asia are investing in our venture capital industry. In the last couple of years, we didn't see that in the past, and this is, I think it's only the beginning. So for us, you just yesterday, whoever missed it, there was an announcement of cooperation between the Tel Aviv University and the Tata Group from India, who are very active here for quite a few years already. As you said, the Chinese are coming over on a regular basis, looking for companies to acquire, technology cooperation. Quite a few deals were done with the Koreans in the last couple of years, Samsung, LGs, and other. And I don't see that as something that stops. For us, as a small country with as Dan mentioned, a very limited population. For us, opening new markets for the Israeli industries is really significant and can make a change. And this is even before we open the Arab market or the Gulf, which is also a trend. But this is really depending on our peace process, who I obviously strongly support. Yeah. But if you talk about Asia, I think Asia is becoming a significant player here. You can see the cooperation not only in investing in Israeli companies and Israeli funds, but also by the fact that Israeli institutionals are investing outside of Israel with Asian companies. So this is a bilateral kind of relationship. And I see it as a very, very important trend for us, and being very positive towards this trend.
No, we completely agree with you, and that's really the reason why my partners and I at Catalyst have now established a couple of new funds where we are going to be basically together with groups from China and Russia investing into Israeli companies to help them basically penetrate and expand. Because we actually see over the last year and a half the significant inflow of interest here, and we've been a first mover in the past, and we believe that this is the beginning of the trend, and we have set up the platform to really help capitalize on this trend. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rory Calabi, you together with AgriCapital have been focused for the past 30 years on the agribusiness space, covering the full spectrum of the food chain in the US and countries around the globe. With the incredibly strong global macro currents driving unprecedented growth in demand combined with the converse trend in arable land and water, it will be interesting to hear your perspective on how the global agribusiness is keeping up and will meet demand in the coming few decades, and as to how Israel is playing a role in terms of innovation and technology to help that.
Thank you, Alan. Actually, I know ag is hot, and people are wondering, to make it presented in a very simple way, what are the three main drivers of agriculture? One is the continued increase in demand, where in the next 50 years, the world population will go from 7 billion to 9 billion. We will need to produce as much food in the next 50 years as we have since man came down from the tree. It's just an amazing demand for food products. And also, as importantly, the consumer is becoming much more demanding in what it is they eat. So that the Indian peasant, instead of eating just a bowl of rice, he now wants milk, he wants meat, he wants protein, etc. So the demand for food continues to increase tremendously. Big pressure. Now, the other driver in agriculture and agribusiness is technology. If you look at the food chain from one end to the other, every link in the food chain, there is some crazy guy somewhere doing something to increase the efficiency by some little amount, which is why we all benefit from such low prices wherever we go. And what it also means as far as technology is that I know the American farmer in 1940 fed 15 people. In the year 2012, he is feeding almost 160 people. It's just an amazing productivity in land. And the demand on technology will be greater and greater because we have to produce more with less. There's less arable land, there are more water limitations, more environmental problems, etc. Now, when it comes to technology, I would say there are three leaders in technology: the United States, Holland, and Israel. France, by the way, they do some great work in France and Europe. But now, ounce for ounce, or per capita basis, I think it's a close tie between Holland and Israel as to is really most productive in coming up with creative ideas. It's just amazing. This is my 5th trip to Israel in the last 3 years, and before that, I was very close to many Israeli companies. And the amount of creativity is just mind-boggling. I know we have one client, a company called Galileo, that hasn't quite reinvented the wheel, but they've reinvented the tire. And just a very creative invention, if you will. And so technology will play a bigger and bigger role. And I think Israel, with the tremendous system, with the government support of the universities, the interaction of the universities and private business, has done a great job in doing that. And you should be congratulated, if you will. Now, as far as globalization, one thing about food, and I'm sure these gentlemen will agree with me, food is agnostic. It doesn't recognize any boundaries, any religion, any race, creed, or anything. It's just people have to be fed, whatever their color, if you will. And I myself, when I look at my work, I don't recognize borders. I just fly wherever I need to fly. Interestingly enough, the only problem I have traveling is Canada. Canada and the United States, for some reason, the immigration services have a game as to who's going to be more difficult with the other nationality. But otherwise, people recognize the need. Now, in Israel, what is happening is that it really is attracting the big players and small players, if you will. So you've had acquisitions by things like Monsanto, acquiring Rosetta Green. You have people like Permira, a big private equity group, buying Netafim. And of course, as Alan said, you have the Chinese Chem China buying Maktashim Agan, a very creative ag chem company. I met with Maktashim Agan yesterday, and it's quite interesting. It's more than a one-way street, because what was happening with Maktashim and Chem China is that Maktashim is taking all of Chem China's ag business and they're becoming, the global ag leader and mover for all of ChemChina's activities. So that's a great thing where it's more than just one-way street. So anyway, in brief, a lot is coming out of Israel. I continue to encourage people to supporting this fountainhead of great technology.